The following portion of the Arizona Daily Mix is sponsored on behalf of U.S. Chamber of Commerce by D.S. Simon Media.
There are more than 1 million active duty National Guard and Reserve military spouses in the United States, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation's Hire Our Heroes is a nationwide initiative to help them find meaningful employment opportunities. Last week, Lexi talked with Elizabeth O'Brien, Executive Director of Hiring Our Heroes, and Mike Kelly, Assistant Vice President of USAA, to discuss this important initiative.
Good morning, Elizabeth and Mike. Thank you both so much for being here.
Good morning. Glad to be with you.
Absolutely. So, Elizabeth, we're going to start with you. So, tell us a little bit about what difficulties transitioning service members and military spouses face when they're looking for employment.
Absolutely. It's a privilege and an honor to be the executive director at Hiring Our Heroes. When we talk about military spouses, a population that is 92% female and 21% unemployed rates, placing us at 4 and 5 times the rate of the national average, you start to understand there are some significant challenges and barriers that we have to navigate. I've been a military spouse for 2 decades during our nation's longest conflicts. And at one point, I lived 7 places in 9 years, and 2 of them were overseas. So when you understand that I'm 10 times more likely to move over state lines than our civilian counterparts, you really put together there are some challenges that we have to face and build solutions for. Now, the good news is at Hiring Our Heroes, we have built very specific programs to create solutions in the communities that military spouses live in. And we're doing it with great partners like USAA, like 50 Strong, who's based out of Phoenix, Arizona. And we're seeing significant impact.
That's great. Yeah, and those are some very unique challenges that you just mentioned right there with that kind of moving and that kind of lifestyle. But Mike, what makes military spouses such great employees?
Well, it is really what Liz described. It's the challenges and the lived experience that they have with those unique military opportunities that come to move 7 times in 9 years. So military spouses are just inherently flexible. You've got to be resilient. I mean, think about moving 7 times in 9 years, the amount of resilience that you need to do that. They're critical thinkers. They're outside the box problem solvers. So companies like USAA are very, very interested in hiring military spouses because of that shared experience.
Absolutely. Those are some great things that you just pointed out. And tell us a little bit about how USAA supports military spouses and domestic partner employees throughout military life.
Well, one of the best ways we support it is supporting programs like Hiring Our Heroes. So we have been aligned with the Hiring Our Heroes initiative since its very beginning back in 2011, 2012, because USAA wanted to set the example and be a national role model for other employers to demonstrate the value and the impact that military affiliated employees bring to the workforce. So we've got a very robust set of programs. We participate in the fellowship program. In fact, we have hired last year, we hired almost 1,000 military spouses and domestic partners at USAA, and already this year, almost 200 spouses and domestic partners. And why do we do that? If you think of who USAA is and who we serve, the military community, who better to be on the phone and serve our members than someone who has that shared experience? So we work very hard to not just hire them, but to also retain them. So we talked about those moves. We work very hard to retain our active duty military spouses if their partners are PCSing. So we provide them 40 hours of time off during that move, but we also work hard to keep them on the USA team by accommodating their remote employment.
That's so great. And Elizabeth, we don't have a ton of time, but I do know that Military Spouse Appreciation Day just passed. So really quickly, tell us why that's so important.
It's so important because it's an opportunity for Americans to reflect on the contributions and impact that military spouses bring to the communities that we live in. And it's unbelievably important that we find a pathway for military spouses who want to pursue economic opportunity. I always say, don't thank me for my support or my or extension of service. Find a way to put a military spouse to work. And Military Spouse Appreciation Day every year is always a great opportunity for Americans to reflect on being part of that change.
That's so great. All right. Well, thank you both so much for being here. I know we have more information at hiringourheroes.org and then, of course, on our website at the CW7AZ.com. Thank you both so much for your time today.